tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Welcome to episode 2 of Dig on USA's network tonight, and there's a lot going on, so I sure am glad that Andrea Fasano is here tonight. We're going to break it down.
Hi, guys.
She's joining us. Yeah, how's it going?
It's going great. I'm so excited to be here that even the president and his traffic causing is not going to bring me down.
Right?
So.
Well, that's right. Well, catch you later is what we'll say to that, and then we'll invite you on into this second episode entitled Catch You Later. So, yeah, this is an amazing twists and turns, intriguing twists and turns tonight. We've had some more action. We've had more attachment to the characters. Peter Connelly arrested.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was a
almost
good,
twice because he was brought in the first time and then, arrested at the end, put in handcuffs again. Crazy. I have to say, for a follow-up to the pilot, this kind of held its own. It was pretty good. Usually, the pilot comes out, it's crazy, talking and stuff, and then you have the second episode, and it's like, all right, now where is this going? But it kept my interest. I'm digging Dig. I'm digging it. I know it's a pun, blah, 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 but we're gonna keep those puns going because it's too easy.
Yeah, exactly.
With this show, anyway.
We're going to dig a little deeper at hashtag dig deeper. Okay, so yeah, there is, thank you for that because, reflecting on the pilot, it's longer. We're being introduced to the characters. And then tonight it was like action packed. And I was like, is it over?
Yeah, exactly. I know. And the first one, like you said, we were talking about how I didn't watch the first one with commercials, and this one we did, and it went so much quicker. And the commercials, when they have those teasers, it kind of throws you. You're like, wait, what's happening next? Did I miss something? But no, you didn't. You watched the whole show, and it was great.
Andrea, how have you felt about Jason Isaacs' performance so far as Peter Connelly overall? Are you finding it believable? Are you into his intensity or what?
Yes, I'm totally into his intensity. And I have to tell you, and first of all, let me just say this. Kudos on holding your own with your own show last week because you hit so many like nails on the head throughout the show and what I watched in the pilot, and I was like, glad she mentioned that. Glad she mentioned that. It was a really great job. Well done.
Awesome.
So applause for that.
Well, and I got some Twitters as well.
You did?
And I was looking forward to sharing those, but we're not going to be able to get it to it tonight. But please keep them coming on in, and hopefully next week we'll have Twitter tweets from you and then also for me. So at Mindy Charlotte, that's my Twitter, and then your Twitter address is?
I'm Andrea Fasano, and my Twitter address is at Andy Fasano, ANDIFASANO.
Yeah, and we do like to respond, so we will continue to keep the responses coming.
Yeah, we might not do it tonight during the show, but we'll do it definitely as soon as the show ends.
Yeah, that's right, because we want it to be interactive, and please ask questions, and then we'll plan to address those next week on the show. Any comments?
I just wanted to kind of go back to, because you just asked me how I feel about him, and that's where I was going with it, that I love Jason Isaacs as Peter Connelly, and what I did want to say is that I noticed last week he's my guy from Awake. Does anybody remember the show Awake? It was on NBC in 2012. I know you talked about Harry Potter and some other roles he had, but on Awake, which I loved, and it was very short-lived in 2012, but he played Michael Britton, and he was also a detective, and he's also somebody who lost a child. So it's kind of weird, and we're going to get there and talk about it today because we found a little bit more about his character in Dig. But it's just ironic that he's playing still a detective, and he has that similarity with his character. So I just thought that was awesome, and I loved him in Awake. So I love him in this show so far, and I'm really interested in watching even more because of him.
Yes, and I loved him in Peter Pan as well. So.
Yeah. There you go.
But yeah, a great segue into his daughter, who we find out more information about tonight. The horrible tragedy of suicide of a child, and he's carrying that grief. I'm not sure if that other character, but this seems unique to...
That was the whole overtone, and you said that last week, of it totally affects the way he deals with things, the way he handles his situations, the way he acts like he's invincible, kind of. And you think, does that have anything to do with your child, you know? But
yes, the way that he's, you know, in other words, all over the place, and you kind of just give him
haphazard in the way he lives.
Yeah.
Now,
give him kind of a grace card in the middle of this religious conspiracy, if that's an oxymoron or something.
I don't know.
Okay, yeah.
It's a crazy show. It's a crazy show.
His daughter is played by the look-alike daughter is Alison Sudol, the one with the pink hair that she went off by herself and was none other than taken out last week. And then he is starting to be accused and suspected, which is why that led to his arrest tonight for her death. And how did you feel like that played out tonight, Andrea?
The whole deal with him and the other detective, Cohen,
yes, played by Ori Pfiffer.
Yes, so Detective Cohen. I like their banter. It adds a light element, almost the humor of the show, because it is kind of a darker show a little bit, and so the tone is kept light by their banter and their hatred for each other, but yet they, like, even in this one, the detective said, "Oh, I found something I liked about you," but he's after him because he thinks that Connelly is to blame. And Connelly's just trying to find out what happened, and he's not really too keen on clearing his name right now. He knows that Cohen's all over him, and he doesn't even care.
And he finds his way back down into that same cave.
Absolutely.
And we see the water, the pond where they had jumped in previously, which he didn't mention that to him. And he was like, well, what were you guys doing in there?
There's too much for a short period of time before he got arrested.
Yes. And then there was that sacrifice that they saw of some kind, and the wall was put up. So he's back in there tonight, and we see that he sees Emma Wilson's initials again. So he's
just looking for more clues. He wants to find out more. And I called that the detective was going to be right behind him, or somebody was going to be following him.
Yes.
And he was, and I knew that was. I'm glad. It's like those are the kind of things when you watch a show, you don't want them to go on too long. And I think the writers did a really good job of, we all as the audience know that he was with her that night. He saw some things that he hasn't revealed to anybody so far. So how long are they going to let this play out? And they did a good job. I think they let it play out just long enough, and now the detective knows, and they have the information they need to kind of go forward with it.
As soon as the detective had taken his handcuffs off, then he says, okay, talk on this phone. Hello. And then he guides them throughout the streets to find the mystery man who had taken the stone from him in the last episode. There was a good foot chase. Well, then this mystery man ends up at the U.S. ambassador's dinner that night.
Yes, that was a huge twist. I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Really great. 100-person dinner, all from wherever, but it's the U.S. Embassy, correct? That's what we're assuming it was.
I believe it was a dinner with the, the importance.
Yep. And this guy is from America, so you're like, why is he over here? He's finding these stones, and then he's giving them back to the U.S., technically.
Yes, that's right. And why in the middle of such an important, yeah, that was like the worst timing ever.
Well, he made that phone call saying that he needed to get rid of it because he knew that guy knows he's going to be arrested.
Okay.
So I think he was just like, I need to do this and I need to do it now.
But you would almost think, okay, put in an envelope, bury it in a wall with a key or something.
Yeah, send a note, send a little hunt for it. Yep, no, he walked right in there.
And where do you think this is? Well, we can get into where that we think this might go next week in the predictions if you want.
Oh, excellent. Let's do that.
Okay. But again, touching back on his daughter just briefly, that was a heavy situation because the detective is trying to find out more about his past and investigating. He lets on to Peter. He's like, oh, I noticed you were in seminary. So, whoa.
All information we got in the second episode that, again, I'm thrilled with it because it's usually stuff that doesn't get, the daughter thing was so confusing in the first episode. All you want to know is what happened to your daughter. We know she's dead. but how? Why? How's it affecting you? Your marriage, you know, all of that stuff that you touched upon. And we found out a lot of information this episode.
Yes, it was a nice sort of drawing in with a big hook last week. And then now we've delivered, we got some meat on the hook, you might say. That's a weird analogy, but that's what it's
fine.
And so,
we're the fish. We're biting. We're biting, guys.
Biting.
We're into it.
Right. Maybe some piranha. Okay.
And it's over.
All right. Well, again, that was totally devastating about the child, suicide and in America. Unfortunately, that's wiping out a lot of young people these days. And so on a side note, of course, there's always help for that. But I like any show that has the bravery to address issues like that as life is unfolding for these characters.
Yep.
Yeah. And then, of course, going back to the fact he went to seminary and he was 3 days away from getting his collar, but he dropped out. So there's some religious background with him that could draw in, I'm suspecting, Catholicism.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, I would suspect the same, but it is funny that those underlining storylines with him do kind of tie back to the whole ominous of the whole episode. Like the religious tones are everywhere, and like to find out that he has that background, you're like, okay, it's funny that he's on this sort of mission, meanwhile, it had nothing to do with religion to begin with, you know?
Okay, that leads me to, I'm going to have to make that prediction. That's good
We're
stuff
going there. We're going there.
Oh, yeah, later on, because I'm kind of seeing the writing on the wall.
Yep.
Yes, I am. All right, so let's move on into the second plot that we saw tonight unfolding with the chosen child, except it's no longer Josh, it's
Joshua.
That was very perceptive.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I saw that in the first one when he introduced, she was yelling, Josh. Debbie was yelling, Josh, Josh. And then he said something when she said, who are you? Who are you? And he said, I'm Joshua. And I was like,
A little too proper.
Yeah,
a little
it
conditioning
seemed a little robotic.
Robotic,
exactly.
okay.
Which he freaks me out, people. He does. And you nailed it with the blue, coloring and everything. It's very cultish. That whole situation is weird.
And they open the door and it's almost like outside. You can see through a lens of blue as
Yes.
well.
Yes.
And Debbie, she had shown some tears, showing remorse over him being taken out in cold-blooded murder last week. And so she finds that out tonight in a horrible way.
I was shocked. I have to say, I was shocked that they told her. I wasn't sure she was going to even find out what happened to the kid. And I was shocked that they showed him and they told her, listen, you get out of line. This is what happens. His feet touch the ground. We don't need him anymore. Still don't understand why they had to do that. Maybe we'll find out.
Well, and they also said, we need to find out if you're with us or
against
not.
us. Yeah. They were testing her. Exactly.
And because they're about to have this major ritual. There's a building. And the various cult practices, the religious ceremonies that are happening, and somehow they're all tied in. So that is going to be fascinating to watch
Absolutely.
that unfold. Yeah, the blue house. I don't know what else to call it really. Oh, compound. That's probably more accurate because they have the security code and you have to get out. She was about to take off. The whole thing had freaked her out so much, and then the woman is saying, "Are those tears I see?"
I know.
It's like, oh, well, excuse me for feeling
Right,
here.
exactly.
I mean, this is like life or death with someone that she's practically a mother to.
That's exactly how I saw it.
That was very revealing of how you're not supposed to feel real human emotion.
They're all dressed the same. They have the same colors on. I mean,
so control and fear, two things that drive cults a lot of times, and that's what keeps people inside instead of getting free to get out. It's almost like a kind of a mental prison.
Yeah.
Being sort of bonded with people in this mindset. Yeah.
and it's reflected physically by the way it looks and the way everything is run. So it's
they
super
depicted that very well. And so in terms of this new Joshua, he quoted, I guess it was his bar mitzvah, which was unique to me because
he turned 13. That's
more of a Jewish.
It's a Jewish tradition, which is so ironic because there's the pastor running it.
Okay.
Instead of a rabbi. So what's the deal there? You guys have to tell us what you think, because I saw a huge, not not even an issue, but just like a huge, so interested me in the pilot that it was the pastor receiving a call from the rabbi talking about the red cow. And now you have Joshua having his, he's 13, he's having his bar mitzvah, and there's the pastor running it.
And he's reading from the Torah.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so he's doing his reading, and I was really surprised because this pastor's been talking about the Lord, and then he says, praise Jesus. Okay, that was totally bizarre.
Completely. It's
because
so
it doesn't fit.
No.
So we're trying to put a puzzle together with the Blue Man Group.
I love that. Awesome.
But the puzzle pieces are not fitting here.
No. And then, I mean, the whole cow sacrifice was completely another thing. I mean, I don't know where that comes from.
Are you talking about the people out in the forest?
No, I'm actually talking about when they brought the cow. And that'll lead into that. But when they brought the black and white cow in, it's another prediction. I don't want to say it just now, but I kind of do because I don't want to forget. But it has to. I think that cow, and they're just prepping him for what's going to happen with the red cow. So I'll put that out there.
Oh, you think the two cows might meet?
No, I mean, he slaughtered this one. I just don't know what that has to do with his whole bar mitzvah, slaughtering a cow.
You're right. He did. He knocked his head off with the axe or whatever.
And then Debbie was like, no, don't do it. And he did it.
Which
I think it was supposed to be a rite of passage for him or a sacrifice. But I do think that the red cow is going to come and tie in with Joshua and the new child and whatever his
and that was a
big deal
look.
is with this world and what they want to do.
Have you ever been? How many bar mitzvahs have you been to in your life?
Quite a few actually.
Okay.
But so it was that whole reading the Haftorah and that whole part of it was normal to me.
Okay.
I have never been to a bar mitzvah where they've killed a cow, so I have no idea what that was about.
So that's not like something they're gonna have for dinner.
No, more like dancing after, maybe some DJ action, but never a cow walked into a bar mitzvah.
So this
sounds like a bad joke.
Yeah. Oh, no.
In a church.
Yeah, so this has taken a violent twist.
Very much so.
And we're seeing that they have brainwashed him into some violence. This is his initiation for what is to come. And it's a mystery what that is. And like it's a mystery still some with the breastplate and the stones. And so there's different tie-ins that are happening. So let's go back to the cows because I just want to get a little bit of clarity here because you've got the young man that he ended up having to drive for the first time in the ice, nonetheless.
Right, and this is in Norway when we see the red cow again, and that I think it's hysterical. Can we just discuss that we're talking about the show Dig, and all we can talk about are cows? This is not like
they became characters to us, I think, in the sense of
it's just so funny. Like this is not Way Out West. This is not other shows that take place on farms. I mean, this guy's on a farm, but
so you're getting it is funny, but also there is the deeper thing you're touching on, which is the scripture that they started the series with last week. Numbers 19:2, talking about the red heifer and how if you touch a corpse, you have to have a red heifer to make you clean. So there's some kind of tie-in to that.
Absolutely. What? We don't know. Wait for episode 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Okay. So is it working for you? Do you feel like the animal sacrifices in those two genres, in the blue, the cultish home with Josh, with the very brainwashed family, if you will. I mean, so there's a lot of studying that's gone on here.
Absolutely. And I think, we've seen the cross, like I said, with the conversation between the pastor and the rabbi who's dealing with the red heifer. So that's going to tie in. That it's going in the right direction. I want to see where it goes. But like I said, I think they did a really good job of kind of wrapping up those details early on. And if that's the way it goes, I'm going to be into this show the whole way because they're just going to have new stuff to keep opening up to. And I like when something's, put a little bow on it and move on.
Yeah.
And that's what this show does pretty well.
I think there was 3 things I wasn't supposed to talk about as a child. War, religion, and politics. And
I think that's at a party. That's what it was.
That's what it is. We're breaking all the...
If you were a child talking about politics, I'd be like, go kid, go talk about your politics. That's awesome.
So we're just rebels with a cause here. We're breaking all the rules here at AFTERBUZZ tonight.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
So fun, so fun. So it's working for you. Do you
Yes.
want to see more of a certain relationship develop?
Interesting question. I love anything to do with the main character, obviously, Peter Connelly. I would like to find out what's going on with his wife and his home kind of back in the U.S. and what he left over there. I don't know if it has any effect on what's going on now, but I kind of want to know. I'd just be interested in the backstory.
Right, because he's got some personal demons that he's wrestling with, and he does call her in these desperate hours of the night. She's stuck apparently in the United States dealing with her grief without her husband or alleged husband.
Right. What's the shell of a husband? Shall we
Right.
say that?
And maybe she is a shell of a wife.
Maybe.
And I believe she's going to get drug over into Jerusalem. What do you think?
Oh, that's very interesting. I wonder if also the daughter's, I mean, this would be a real stretch if they brought in the daughter's suicide and how that has anything to do with any of this.
See, did
But
you
they're
believe
making a
that
really big deal
okay.
about her and the red hair. I mean, even their posters are all about the new lady, Emma Wilson, and her red hair.
Right.
So I just feel like there's a little bit more with the daughter, and I'm interested to see that.
Okay.
And I'd like to see his relationship with Lynn and where that's going to go, despite just having physical relationship and her being his boss and him ignoring everything that she says and just doing his own thing anyway.
Okay, very
So.
good. Yeah, we didn't really see a lot of interaction between Lynn
No.
and Peter tonight, but it was enough
There's
to
a lot
know.
going on.
Yeah.
There's so much going on in this show.
Yeah, he's
So I
not
like
in
it.
love with her.
No.
No.
But we did find out that she had gone to one of his classes that he's taught before. So they knew each other before he came over to Jerusalem, right?
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yes, so they do have a background. Let's go ahead and get into predictions for next week.
Great.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, you wrote them all down.
Now,
You got to remind me.
your AFTERBUZZ TV predictions.
All right, I'm so ready because I believe that the U.S. ambassador brought over Peter Connelly and even Lynn, knowing they have this promiscuous relationship, knowing that he is suffering this grief, so that she can basically scapegoat and deflect whatever
Interesting.
she's going through onto them. And so they're going to end up taking the rap for a lot at the end of the day.
Wow. That, I want to clap it up for you. That is a bold prediction. Really bold, but you went for it.
Thank
That's
you.
great.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with that. The stones, it was amazing to see how many she had, you know, already collected. And I want to know where the hardest one is to find. I'm going to predict that the hardest and the last stone to find is in the red heifer.
Oh,
Let's do that. Let's just go there. Let's
Whoa,
pull out,
holy
let's
cow.
pull some tricks out of our hat and say that the last stone has something to do with that. With the red
Wow.
heifer.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. So
How that would even be possible is beyond me, but it's TV, folks. That's what
That's
makes
right.
it so good.
And apparently there's the clues that you're following like that on digdecoded.com. There's some kind of sweepstakes where
Ooh.
there's going to be a winner, and then you can travel to some sort of exotic location, it looks like. I was doing some
Lovely.
research.
Yeah.
So you might want to get in on that action at digdecoded.com. And
Awesome.
then you can see, if you haven't seen the premiere last week's season premiere, then you can go back and watch that again and tie in some of these clues. And
Yep.
yeah, and then also we're going to be here next week. Is there anything that you would like to add? Did I miss anything for you tonight, Andrea?
I don't know. I mean, there's so much, but I think we did
There
a pretty
is.
good job. You know what I would like to say?
Yes.
The guy who is after the deliverers of the red heifer, who is he? They called him an ensign, right?
Right.
And I didn't understand what all of that was with, because they were worried, you know, there's 60 kilometers from the next town. Well, he was worried about the ensign coming all the way there, and all of a sudden they were stopped and the guy was shooting at them. So who was that guy? Because the one who got shot in the liver, we don't know his name. He apparently knew that this guy was after them. So I'd like to see where that goes.
Yeah.
And what place that guy is coming from. Like, whose team is he on?
Yeah,
type of
this
deal.
is intellectually intriguing. You've got to really kind of follow these mystery people.
Yep.
I mean, you really can't miss a week. And so Detective Cohen, he's got the son and some family.
So cute.
Yeah.
What
Oh.
a cutie. Nicely cast. Adorable kid.
Right. And then I just wanted to say the only scripture they talked about tonight is there is a way that seems right to a man, and that goes back to that, but in the end it leads to death. I actually know that one. But they were using it in a
Oh, yeah.
a skewed perspective. Another quote okay, so that's the second one that they've drawn from.
Okay.
And there's some different, there is some genuine prayers, but then there's some, I don't want to say disingenuous.
No, and we don't know. I mean, you have to be really into all of these things to kind of, it teaches you as well as interests you, this show. So I think that's a cool aspect of it. You know, that's why I like Newsroom. It was very informative and it was interesting. It kept your attention. So I think Dig kind of has those elements. And like you said, it's very Da Vinci Code-ish. There's so much religious history in here that is just culturally stimulating, kind of. You know, if you're into that stuff, it's so interesting. So
well, and the other thing we're going to find out is if Vicky Connelly, the daughter, if it was really suicide, like you say, or if there is, if that's part of this overall conspiracy, especially now that we know he's tied in with religion.
Right.
Fascinating.
very.
All right. Well, I guess that about does it for tonight. Anything else that you'd like to add here at the last minute?
No, I'm good to go. I'm excited for next week's show.
Okay.
Absolutely. And just so everyone knows, I watched the pilot on Apple TV. I didn't think you were able to because it's USA Network. I was completely shocked by that. So that was awesome. No commercials. I suggest you do it, and it's free. So I think that's great.
So amazing.
Get involved with the dig. Hashtag dig.
I love it. The dig. The dig. Okay, we'll see you next week. I'm Mindy Charlotte Thomas.
Andrea Fasano at Andy Fasano.
And we'll see you, well, I guess next week, same time, same place. Thanks for
guys.
joining us.
Thank you. Buzz you later.
Buzz you later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.